In the Cold War, the United States did not win its greatest victories with explosions. It won them with patience, engineering, and the quiet confidence that when the moment finally came, American hands would know exactly what to do. In September 1976, that moment arrived on a civilian runway in Japan. Sitting there, surrounded by startled airport workers and confused officials, was one of the Soviet Union's most feared and secret weapons, the Mikoyan-Gurevich MiG-25. For nearly a decade, this aircraft had haunted American intelligence briefings. It was believed to be faster, higher flying, and more advanced than anything in the Western arsenal. It had forced billions of dollars in response spending. It had shaped doctrine. It had influenced aircraft design. And now, through a combination of defection, opportunity, and strategic readiness, it was about to be opened, examined, and understood by the very country it was built to defeat. This was not just an intelligence win. It was a moment of technological reckoning, and a reminder that the United States did not fear machines. It studied them. Throughout the late 1960s and early 1970s, American radar operators had tracked something extraordinary over Soviet territory. High-altitude, high-speed interceptors were appearing on scopes, climbing beyond 60,000 feet and reaching speeds approaching Mach 3. Analysts struggled to categorize what they were seeing. The aircraft, later identified as a MiG-25, appeared to outclass anything in the American inventory at the time. It could intercept strategic bombers and reconnaissance aircraft before they reached Soviet airspace. It could climb faster than expected. It seemed almost untouchable. In Washington, worst-case assumptions took over. If the Soviets had mastered high-speed flight at this level, what else had they achieved? Was American air superiority slipping away? Was there a technological gap forming in the skies? These fears were not abstract. They directly influenced the development of new American platforms, including the F-15 Eagle, designed specifically to counter perceived threat posed by the MiG-25. Billions were allocated. Designs were revised. Performance requirements were pushed higher. The United States responded not with panic, but with innovation. Yet the truth was that much of what was believed about the MiG-25 was based on radar returns, satellite imagery, and fragments of intelligence. No Western engineer had ever touched one. No American pilot had ever looked inside its cockpit. It was a shadow, fast, high, and deeply mysterious. If you appreciate deep historical analysis like this, and you want more documented Cold War discoveries told without exaggeration, take a moment to follow the channel and leave a like. It helps this project grow and ensures more stories like this reach those who value real history. On September 6, 1976, that shadow landed. Viktor Belenko, a Soviet Air Defense Forces pilot, made a decision that would alter Cold War intelligence overnight during a routine training flight. He broke formation, descended to low altitude to avoid radar detection, and flew east. His destination was not another Soviet base. It was Hakodate Airport in Japan. Low on fuel and committed to his course, Belenko landed his MiG-25 on a civilian runway, overshooting slightly before bringing the aircraft to a stop. Airport personnel stared in disbelief. This was no ordinary defection. It was a delivery of one of the Soviet Union's most advanced interceptors into Western hands. Within hours, diplomatic tensions rose. The Soviet Union demanded the immediate return of both pilot and aircraft. Japan, caught in the middle, faced intense pressure. The United States moved quickly but carefully. Teams of American specialists were dispatched to examine the aircraft before it could be returned. Time was limited. Every panel opened, every component inspected, every measurement taken would matter. This was a rare window, perhaps the only one, to study the engineering philosophy of machine that had shaped years of strategic planning. As American engineers began their inspection, the first surprise emerged almost immediately. The MiG-25 was not built primarily from titanium, as many analysts had assumed. Instead, it was constructed largely from nickel-steel alloy. Heavy, durable, easier to manufacture at scale. This was not the exotic, ultralight aerospace marvel many had imagined. It was robust, almost industrial in character. The aircraft design reflected a different philosophy. Brute strength and raw speed over elegance and maneuverability. The West had projected its own design assumptions onto the Soviet system and had been wrong. Opening the avionics compartments revealed something even more unexpected. Much of the aircraft electronic systems relied on vacuum tube technology rather than advanced semiconductors. To Western observers, this initially appeared backward, but deeper analysis revealed the logic. Vacuum tubes were far more resistant to electromagnetic pulse from nuclear detonations. They were easier to replace in austere conditions. They were durable. The MiG-25 was not designed for finesse. It was designed to survive and intercept American bombers under extreme conditions. If you're finding this breakdown insightful and you want more long-form Cold War analysis without modern political noise, follow the channel and leave a like. Your support directly fuels the research behind these episodes. Further examination revealed that the MiG-25's enormous engines delivered extraordinary speed, but at a cost. At sustained high Mach numbers, the engines would degrade rapidly. The aircraft could reach astonishing velocities, but doing so risked damaging the turbines. This was not a dogfighter built for agile engagements. It was a specialized interceptor meant to launch, climb rapidly, fire long-range missiles, and return. The myth of a super-maneuverable Soviet air superiority fighter began to dissolve under fluorescent lights in a Japanese hangar. The radar system, however, commanded respect. Powerful and capable of tracking targets at long range. It was optimized for detecting large aircraft, such as strategic bombers and reconnaissance platforms. American analysts realized that the MiG-25 had been purpose-built to counter aircraft like the State Route 71 and high-altitude bomber fleets. It was not meant to dominate every dimension of air combat. It was a scalpel aimed at a specific threat. As days passed, American specialists documented wiring layouts, metallurgy, fuel systems, and aerodynamic compromises. Every rivet told a story. What emerged was not a narrative of Soviet technological superiority, but one of focused engineering trade-offs. The Soviet Union had not built a universally superior fighter. It had built exactly what it needed for its defensive doctrine. The fear that had driven years of speculation began to give way to clarity. If you value clear-eyed historical reassessment like this, take a moment to follow the channel and leave a like. It ensures more viewers discover stories where facts replace myths. When the aircraft was eventually disassembled, created, and returned to the Soviet Union, it was no longer an enigma. American intelligence assessments were revised. Threat projections were recalibrated. The panic embedded in earlier assumptions softened. The MiG-25 remained dangerous, but it was understood, and understanding changes everything in strategy. Perhaps most importantly, this episode reaffirmed something fundamental about the American approach during the Cold War. The United States did not simply react emotionally to perceived threats. It studied them, dissected them, and responded with precision. The development of the F-15 Eagle, influenced in part by fear of the MiG-25, ultimately produced one of the most successful air superiority fighters in history. In a sense, even the myth of the MiG-25 had strengthened American aviation. For Viktor Belenko, the decision to defect reshaped his life entirely. For the Soviet Union, the embarrassment was profound. For American engineers, it was a rare gift. Direct access to the unknown. Intelligence victories rarely make headlines. They unfold quietly, behind closed doors in laboratories and hangars. Yet their consequences ripple outward for decades. If you made it this far and appreciate serious Cold War storytelling, follow the channel and leave a like. It signals that there is still an audience for history told with depth and respect. In retrospect, the story of the MiG-25 is not about humiliation or triumph alone. It is about the danger of assumption. For years, Western analysts had filled in the blanks with worst-case interpretations. Speed became superiority. Altitude became invincibility. But technology, when examined closely, always reveals compromise. Every machine is a collection of choices, constraints, and priorities. The Cold War was defined by secrecy. Radar echoes, satellite photos, intercepted communications. Fragments stitched together into strategic judgments. When one of those secrets rolled onto a runway in Japan, it offered a rare correction. The United States seized the opportunity not with arrogance, but with disciplined curiosity. Panels were removed. circuits were traced, metallurgy was analyzed, and myth gave way to measurable fact. If you want more stories about the moments when hidden technology was finally exposed, follow the channel and leave a like. There are many more discoveries that shaped the balance of power. In the end, the MiG-25 remained a formidable aircraft. It could still fly faster than almost anything in the Western inventory. It could still climb with astonishing power. But it was no longer a phantom of speculation. It was understood in practical terms. And in the Cold War, understanding was often more powerful than raw performance. The true victory that day was not the capture of a machine. It was a reaffirmation of principle. Fear diminishes under examination in a conflict defined by uncertainty. The United States demonstrated once again that its greatest strength was not merely technological innovation, but analytical rigor. The MiG-25 had once represented the unknown. After September 1976, it represented something else. Proof that even the most guarded secrets could be opened, studied, and placed into context. If you believe history deserves this level of detail and respect, make sure to follow the channel and leave a like before you go. More Cold War discoveries are coming, and each one reveals how close the world truly was to the edge and how often understanding pulled it back.